Hey, this is Benjamin Nelson, your Season 7 WSSR Cup champion. I'd like to give a thanks to Roasted Gems Coffee, Trophy Smack, all the admins at WSSR, Snowy Desert Racing, everybody that tunes in to the Freaky Fast broadcast every week, including my family and friends, co-workers as well. And I am so honored to be able to hoist this beautiful trophy. I've never been more proud to be a champion.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Wednesday night. Hopefully you enjoyed your off-season. It's time for the Season 8 opener for the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series. Tonight, the drivers get prepared for a brand new season. We've concluded 7, but tonight's going to be a good one. It's the Hot Lap Threads Fast and Left 250 at the 2008 configuration of Daytona. The drivers, they've gotten a little bit of practice. We've seen a couple of those practice moves. This track is fast, it's bumpy, and these cars look to be a little bit mad at the drivers. It's going to be a good one this here tonight and for the season. We're excited to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up in the booth, first time debuting the booth for Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we have Justin Malarkey with me. Justin, congratulations on joining with me up in the booth. Man, how are you feeling getting prepared for tonight's race?
Thank you for this opportunity, Sam. Thank you, Freaky Fast Broadcasting. I'm excited to bring the action to all the viewers.
We are excited for it, and Justin, we're happy to have you on board for this racing coverage. As tonight, the racing is going to be intense, it's going to be fast, and we're going to quickly get into the action as we head down the track side. Drivers are getting prepared for qualifying, as these drivers have 5 minutes to put down their fastest time. They've got 2 laps to do so, and luckily, the drivers don't have to worry about eliminations. There have been talks. We have over 43 drivers signed up for WSSR this season, and if we ever have more than 43 drivers sign up for a race, there will be elimination qualifying on who can move in or out. But for tonight's race, luckily, they didn't go over that number, so all drivers will be running here tonight for tonight's race. It's going to be a good one. Overall, 100 laps in total. And let's see how the drivers are going to be gritting up this evening. Drivers that aim for the pole award all have searched for victory lane, but no one has done it just yet. And that's going to be a question of, do you even want to get the pole award? Because Justin, qualifying at a super speedway doesn't always seem to be the most important thing of the night.
Very true, Sam. One thing you do want to have is a nice pit road entry and pit road exit. So getting the first stall gets you in front of all those cars when you come in. You don't have to worry about getting hit, coming out. You got that nice exit. So getting on the pole could be a nice plus.
There are pluses and minuses. Get up front, get ahead of all the madness. And for some other drivers, they might be thinking because they don't need to worry about elimination qualifying, they might start in the back. That's another tactic to try to stay out of the chaos, because super speedway racing, it's not about if, it's about when the big one strikes, especially here at Daytona. First time the league's going to be running at the 08 configuration, but it is going to be a race where they're hoping that they'll have a first-time race that didn't go into overtime. Every race that has been ran at Daytona in the past year in the WSSR, it has gone to overtime, so these drivers know, hey, qualifying's great, but surviving to the end is going to be the most important. As currently, Ollie Fonseca in the 24 machine has the pole award at this moment as drivers are putting in their first times of the night. The 24 looking to be quick as our ticker board comes up. We're so happy that we have a brand new ticker. Robert Moyer Jr., our producer, helping us. He's been producing every race at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Has been working on this ticker and a new graphic system that we're working on. So please be patient if there are any hiccups. We will be trying to make sure that they're good. But man, we are excited for this night. Right now, it's Joshua Kanata who's got the fast time, but a lot of all the other new drivers trying to top the board. That of Nicholas Caressel going to be the top driver, one of our 10 rookies that are entering this season. And being a rookie driver, Justin, always intense, especially when it's your first race of the season.
Yes, you're going to have those nerves. You're going to have super excitement from those drivers. The unexpected of how will they draft for people who've been in this league longer. What you mentioned before, will you want to stay in the back, potentially survive an accident that will potentially happen? Staying in the back, eyes forward, you can avoid that accident, get on the brakes, save your car, save it for the end. The end's what matters in this race. As long as you're on the lead lap, you have a chance.
And some of these names you might have seen in past seasons. Cedric Hunter, the last driver to win here at Daytona, and an amazing survival of the chaos, a type of an ending at the exit turn 4, a massive wreck, as the 13 is hoping to get in victory lane once again. Currently, top of the board is going to be Ross Tatum, as Christopher Norris has been watching Freaky Fast this week, got the pole last night for the Full Send Racing Series, and hoping maybe to get 2 poles in 1 week, as the 38 rocking a new scheme, but gets onto the apron, and that's not going to be a helpful run. With 50 seconds left in qualifying, the 38 was on his money lap, and that is not going to be the lap that he was hoping for. So instead, hey, why not come into pit road, get some practice on entering pit stops? I know, Justin, that's another way the drivers like to just get that little bit of practice in before the actual race of entering pit road.
That is 100% very factual statement. At this track, when you're going to be separated about 3, 4, maybe 5 seconds from first to 30th, you need every second you can. If you can gain a half a second getting in the pits, a half a second coming out, you might be able to gain 10 to 12 spots on track, which could be the difference between a top 10 and a top 20.
A lot of difference that can be gained, as we see Trevor Earhart, who was in the booth last night, out on track. Hasn't raced in the WSSR since season 4 and didn't run enough races to be counted as a full season. So Trevor's going to be entering this season as a rookie, but you saw the timer clicked over to 0. That means qualifying is done, and the field is no longer going to be able to continue on. If you're able to get your time in, congratulations. Otherwise, we're going to be setting up for warm-up. So the drivers were given a 5-minute warm-up time if they needed to go to the bathroom, or if they needed to just get extra practice in with drafting. They've got 5 minutes to do so, and it also gives us 5 minutes to back off and also give a huge shout out to our amazing sponsors here at the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series. And we'll start things off with our title sponsor of the WSSR Cup Series, being Roasted Gems Coffee. Thank you so much to Roasted Gems Coffee. That's been the title sponsor of WSSR for the last few seasons. If you'd like to go get yourself some high quality coffee to start your day off right, go on over to roastedgems.com and remember to use the promo code WSSR5 for 5% off. I mean, it's WSSR for 5% off. Thank you so much to Roasted Gems for being a part of the WSSR Cup Series for the last few seasons. Another amazing sponsor is Trophy Smack. Drivers here this season, if you watched our pre-roll, Benjamin Nelson won the championship and got the Trophy Smack trophy for his winnings for season 7. And for a lot of these drivers, they're all marching for that same trophy and glory that is from Trophy Smack. If you're looking for a championship belt, rings, trophy, or more, go on over to trophysmack.com and go use our promo code WSSR Cup. That's WSSR CUP to get yourself 10% off on all items. Well, thank you so much for joining with us once again, as we have about 3 minutes left in warm-up time. Justin, 100 laps these drivers are about to be entering into at Old Daytona. Man, what do you think these drivers' main focus is going to be for tonight's race?
Old Daytona, exiting the corners, very challenging at this track. You're going to be pinched down, you're going to have people side drafting you, and these bumps are treacherous. You hit the bumps, especially in 1 and 2, it gets so tight coming into that corner. You're going to see these tires wear out a little bit more than you're used to at Daytona and Talladega. This old surface is going to bring some very exciting racing.
It's going to be so exciting to watch. Drivers also coming in with this race. New season, new teams. We got a couple of new teams that are going to be out there on track with new drivers as well. One of the drivers moving away from Snowy Desert Racing to join up with Brian Johnson. Zach Hall, Brian Johnson, going to be a part of the Carolina Reapers team. We also have Bat Fast Racing. It's Kyle Heath and Isaiah Sutherland teaming up. Going to be a part-time team for about 12 races this season. We have Racing Revolution with Justice Murphy, Michael Bennett, and Trevor Earhart. That's a full rookie team that's joining in. And then as well, one of the other new teams is Ben Keeney Motorsports, where we got Brandon Colley, Ross Tatum, and Ben Keeney himself going to be racing out there on track. And the last new team that we have running this season is the Cod Monster Motorsports. John Forbes, Joshua Kanata, which Kanata made the final 6 last season, and Cody Reed, who was the last driver to win at a super speedway. It's going to be a strong team to watch out for here tonight, as we've got a minute and 30 seconds left in our warm-ups. Hey, that's some of the new things that we have going on. We will take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we are excited to give you more of the action as the drivers will start to grid up. We'll get ready for green flag racing. It's going to be a good time for these drivers as we enjoy the sounds of these drivers racing. We'll be back in just a minute to get ourselves ready for racing action for the Hot Lap Threads Fast and Left 250. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you're ready for a brand new season. Here's the drivers are. They're starting to grid up. You're watching the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series Season 8 opener for the Hot Lap Threads Fast and Left 250. My name is Sam Dyer. With me up in the booth is Justin Malarkey, as well as we have our producer Robert Moyer with us as we go down to take a look at our qualifying grid, where the drivers started out, sponsored by Colley's Mom. Colley's Mom's always hoping to see that one machine have a fabulous qualifying run. Well, tonight's going to be a little bit of disappointment because the one didn't even crack the top 20. Instead, we've got Ross Tatum taking the top of the board in the 21 machine, and a rookie for the WSSR, but a threat on Tuesdays. It's the 8 of Brian McCann, who's going to be in that front row. Cody Reed, we know, has got speed, going to be starting in 3rd, with John Berg's going to be in 4th. Benjamin Nelson, last season's champion, the fastest driver at every track we go to, going to be in 5th place. 6th is Ken Campbell. Ryan Noel in 7th. 8th is Nick Crawford. Larry Yingling's going to be in 9th. To finish out your top 10 is going to be Kyle Rochelle. That of Ryan Kelly.
And rolling off 11th is going to be Zachary Hall. 12th, Christopher Wade. Rolling off 13th, Brad Delph. And 14th will be Kyle Heath. Rolling off 15th is Cedric Hunter. And rolling off 16th, Douglas Newbinger. Rolling off 17th is going to be Christopher Norris. And 18th alongside will be Brian Johnson. 19th, Nicholas Corsell. And 20th will be Michael Bennett.
21st, going to find ourselves with Joshua Kanata. Ollie Fonseca will be in 22nd position. We finally find Brandon Colley all the way down in 23rd spot. John Forbes in 24th for the 11 machine. Shane Tarian in 25th position. 26 is going to be Mason Cassidy. 27th is where we find that of Justice Murphy. Also, newest comer, it's going to be another Joshua out there. It's going to be in the 22 of Joshua Kerner, who's going to be just signing up a few hours ago. Then it's Ben Keeney going to be in 29th. 30, it's going to be Danny Cochran, and we'll give I'll do the rest for this leaderboard as we're about to get ourselves back, getting ourselves back to racing for season 8. As we also have Isaiah Sutherland, Trevor Earhart, Chris Stitz, Richard Wolsifer, James Kaufman, James Heater, Edward Schur Jr., and Devin Brooks. The drivers are set up and prepared for 100 laps in total. We do have a stage caution at the end of lap 30 for this field, as we have been given an extended lap. We're actually going to go another lap around for these drivers just to make sure everyone's slotted in the right spot. A few drivers wanted to be in the back and were given EOLs and a little bit of confusion. So we're going to have an extra lap of pacing, which gives us time to talk more about this series. But tonight's race, again, 100 laps. We have a competition caution at the end of lap 30, unless a yellow flag comes out before then. No fast repairs, 5 extra sets of tires in pit road. The fuel looking to be 45 to 48 laps. These drivers can take this fuel for tonight's race. And these drivers get prepared, Justin. Over 38 drivers racing here tonight. It's a lot of drivers, a lot of time with 100 laps. But man, it's almost go time for a brand new season.
It is almost go time, and I love how you mentioned the fuel strategy. This being a 100-lap race, if you get an early caution, do you go in, top off, and know that you can make it on one more stop around lap 50, lap 52, and get to the end if it did stay green? It's going to be very interesting, and we're about to find out.
It's going to be also interesting on the fact, if you look at the history of Daytona, this is the first time that WSSR has ran at the 08 configuration, but all past races here at Daytona, that was back in the Gen 6, the next gen, and last season when they moved over to the Gen 4, which we're currently running this season. Every race at Daytona has gone into overtime. Curious on how that also could be changing up on these drivers' mentalities of, hey, do we want to even think about strategy, or do we think about, hey, how the trends have been going on this season? But the drivers are set up, entering turn 3. They are ready for a new season to begin, and that extra pace lap, amping up the anticipation for the field. Ross Tatum, Brian McCann, going to be your front drivers. A lot of talks of what was Brian McCann going to bring into this field. Drivers know his speed on Tuesday nights for the Full Send Racing Series. A lot of other drivers have joined up from other leagues, hearing about the strength of the field that WSSR brings. Well, it's time to see, are you ready for a brand new season? Because the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series, the Season 8 opener is about to begin. Pace car pulls into pit road. The hot lap threads fast and left. 250 is underway. We're green with Ross Tatum, Brian McCann as they run past the start finish line and roar down into turn number 1. Here we go, Justin, the start of a new season.
Turn 1, 33 degrees of banking. And they're going to get 21, 8 side by side. Johnny Brooks snuck right up there behind him, looking to see who's going to be pushing the hardest going down back straightaway.
Drivers are searching for their speed. Want to be careful with bump drafting. They've learned throughout this offseason and this week with a lot of practice. You can bump draft, but you have to be careful on when you give the bump. There's an easy chance that you can bump someone into the quarter panel, spin them out, or if you touch someone in the corners, that can get them a little bit loose, as we've seen drivers trying to hold on for the best that they can. But it's going to be our front 8 still side by side. McCann with the nose ahead over Ross Tatum, and it's going to be McCann leading lap number 1 as they charge down into turn number 1. Drivers recognizing, hey, want to get up front as fast as possible, but Justin already showing it might be tough to make some big moves as our leaders continue to stay side by side.
Yeah, you're going to see them go 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 all the way through the field, and you're going to get to that point in time where someone going to decide, do they go to the middle? Do they go high? Do they go somewhere maybe the person in front of them doesn't want them to go and they have to send a late block? And that's when we see trouble. But right now, Brian McCann continues to lead, and Ross Tatum holding strong right there on the inside.
Working together, and we've been hearing a lot about the 20 machine on the outside, second car on the outside. That's Johnny Brooks who a lot of drivers said probably the smoothest driver out there on track, and everyone who's ran around the 20 machine have trusted him already. That's crazy for the rookie to already grab so much respect in just a short time. The rest of the field, some of them are trying to still learn each other's tendencies. That's going to be a big thing to watch out for. But on a track that's this bumpy, Justin, staying stable and straight is just a mission on its own, let alone being around so many drivers.
When you stay stable and straight, like you said, it brings everyone around you that comfort level. They want to draft with you. They're comfortable with you being behind them, pushing them. And they know that if they follow you, chances are they could end up right into the front. And right now, I'm watching this 3-car. He's just staying back a little bit in these couple first laps. He's being really super smart, not getting right up there behind the 77. He's giving some room and just feeling his track out.
Keeping themselves in a comfortable position. Also, 3rd car on the inside. That's where we find the 79 of Benjamin Nelson, last season's champion, having right next to him on the outer groove, the 15 of Ken Campbell. Campbell's hoping for a good season as he is running on a great, like I said, for Brian McCann, same for that of Ken Campbell, running well on our Tuesday night series we cover here on Freaking Fast Broadcasting for the Full Send Racing Series. As their season slowly coming to conclusion, WSSR starts a brand new season off, and it is all Ross Tatum, McCann continuing to stay side by side, but Daytona wide enough to go 3 wide. 4 wide's a little tricky, but seeing everyone stay 2 by 2 just 4 laps in, this is a good sign that everyone's taking it easy. But Justin, when do you think we might see some drivers turn that wick and decide, let's test that 3rd lane? Or do you think they all might stay stable until our comp caution at the end of lap 30?
Well, the trend seems to be at Daytona right now. If you're able to stay 2 by 2 and everyone is staying in line as they are, I think maybe around pit stops is where you might see people start wanting to battle for position. They want to get in front. Maybe they want to start dropping down low to the inside. Well, how do you drop down low if you're up on the outside lane? So you might see people start getting really dicey around a pit stop time.
Might be deciding to make those moves. Also, I've heard drivers saying they are strictly staying on the inside. Doesn't matter if there is a car in front or not. The inside is where they feel the most safe. As take a look at Nick Crawford on the outside lane, running a slightly different scheme as Nick Crawford, part of Team Snowy Desert Racing. It's got Johnny Bruggs as well as Christopher Norris and Benjamin Nelson. That team was very strong last season. Again, Zach Hall moving away to join up with Brian P. Johnson, but Snowy Desert Racing was fighting for that team championship. Will continue moving forward. Brian P. Johnson in the 28 machine, part of the Carolina Reapers, where Zach Hall moved away from. A season 1 champion is Brian Johnson, and hoping to grab a 2nd championship. He has made the Final 4, the Final 6. It feels like almost every season, always a threat. But this season might be the toughest, with the competition level continuing to rise. As you see on our top right, there's your fastest lap, Shane Tariant, taking the award there currently.
Yep, that's great for him. Nothing like getting a fast lap, showing off your speed right then early in the season, letting everyone know that you might be the one to beat.
It certainly can help, especially when your last season fastest lap was a playoff point you could grab. Well, that playoff point is now moved over to the pole award. So Ross Tatum at the 21 machine already starting off with a playoff point. Great to be grabbing so far. And if you've been watching us here at Quick Fast Broadcasting or watching racing in general, our competition caution at the end of lap 30 will not have any bonus points. Usually for other series, they have a stage break where top 10 drivers can get bonus points for themselves. Here tonight will not be the case. Here's your race analyzation of tonight's race. We got 100 laps. Competition caution at the end of lap 30, but that pit window, that's going to be the big thing to circle after our competition yellow. Of when will you think about pitting? Do you push it as far as you can? Do you wait until, do you pit sooner? It's going to be a thing to watch out for, as are going to be sponsored by Roasted Gems. You see there as the field continues to stay side by side. That fuel window is going to be a big talking point again once our competition yellow is done. I'm going to talk to a few drivers, Justin, to get their thoughts on this race. When do they think a yellow flag could potentially come out? I think a lot of them felt like the first 5 to 10 laps, they felt like it was very high that we could see a wreck. This is incredible to see the patience being shown here tonight of the field really all deciding, okay, let's give each other space up front that can race it out. Everywhere else, we're going to wait and see until we get to that competition yellow to really put on the burners and see what big moves we can make.
Yeah, I think the drivers you spoke to are spot on that statement. You get past the first 5-6 laps and everyone starts to get their nerves calmed down. You're able to hold that steering wheel without a little shaking in the hands, a little nervousness. It starts to calm down. Right now you see the 21. Maybe he's going to clear the 8 on the outside, potentially. But, yeah, so you're saying with that competition caution, you're going to have everyone come in, get tires, get fuel, and I think we're going to be good until then.
Which, with drivers coming into pit road, they do have 5 extra sets in pit road to work with here tonight as they sing in the field, middle of the groove, trying to run as cleanly as they can with the 67 of Larry Yingling, Cedric Hunter in the 13, the 6 of Brad Delph. That's your inside groove with Avi Nicholas Caressel going to be in that 45 machine. But on the top lane, we got Brian P. Johnson in the 28, the 38 is Christopher Norris, 41 is Michael Bennett. A rookie coming into tonight's series. It's always exciting when you've got rookies. What are they going to bring for tonight's race? Started in 20th, up 17th, and the 41 looks like the outside lane's where he's feeling the most comfortable at this moment. And we're really not able to make any big moves, just taking it steady at this time.
And this is a great camera angle. You can see how bumpy old Daytona is right here as he gets right up there behind the car in front of him. He's getting super close. Nice draft right here. And you can just see the amount of bouncing in there. And that's the drivers are feeling that all through their hands.
As a lot of drivers, if they are dealing with a high force feedback on their steering wheel, they certainly are feeling a lot of the bouncing. I was here talking to Johnny Bruggs about, he brought up the fact that he runs a pretty low force feedback. That's why he's able to keep the car as smooth as he does on these corners and straightaways. It's an interesting thing of the force feedback, Justin, a factor that is in the steering wheels if you're running with the steering wheel on allowing you to feel the bumps, the slides, and when this car gets loose. But it's interesting when drivers decide to kind of change up what they feel like. They want a strong or a low sensitivity.
Yeah, iRacing does such a tremendous job with the force feedback. They bring such a real simulation to this. It truly is amazing just how you can go out there and you can truly feel sore after a race is over. It's phenomenal.
There is one driver I know out there is Kali's mom wondering where is the one machine. Well, sadly, didn't qualify well. Qualified only back in 23rd position. The one in last place. And for some people, they would say, well, this is the worst place to be. But Justin, this is sometimes a tactic that drivers like to use.
Hey, this is lap 13. When we get to lap 95, let's make a note and see where he's running, because he might be in the smartest position right now.
This one, taking it easy, keeping this one machine out of trouble. Again, no fast repair. If you get caught up in a wreck, you will have to manually come into pit road, wait for those damages to get repaired, or just run out there until your engine expires on itself. But taking it easy, keeping yourself out of trouble, not a bad call. As the one machine, Brandon Kali is running back with Devin Brock in the 91, James Heater in the 18, and just taking it home at this current time. But I talked about the drivers that are using a steering wheel. Well, the 32 machine who put down in 32nd position, in the 9 machine, actually running not in the steering wheel. This is our lone controller driver, Justin. I know that's always an interesting thing when drivers talk about how they're running. A lot of people usually talk about all the different styles of steering wheels. Well, here's our controller driver of the series, who is also very quick and always is a threat for the fastest lap at every track to go to.
All right, Shane, you have some quick thumbs out there, because that was beautiful what we just watched going through the corner. If you can do that on a controller.
Yeah, it is wild to see as Shane's trying to keep his steering wheel, the steering wheel you see on screen, but his controller as steady as possible through the corners. And visually, he has to see if his car breaks loose. Not that force feedback the steering wheels have on if you feel like you're breaking loose or not. And this 9 machine, again, a threat to watch out for. A driver that made it to our final 6, that race for a championship. It's going to be another threat to watch out for. The drivers are still side by side all the way through the field. 15 laps in, we are halfway through our competition caution window. But again, if we have a caution that comes out before lap 30, that will actually count as a competition window. The drivers can recognize, hey, this race, with the competition caution, you might work your way around that bubble zone of when you come to pit road, but it certainly can change at any moment as the field is 15 laps in. I know, Justin, there's a lot of experience for the drivers. They would know more than us, but tire wear at super speedways, it feels like it's something that's growing to become more of a factor in a lot of vehicles, especially on a vehicle like this machine at the 2008 Cheese Grater Daytona. I'm curious on how tire wear might be influencing on tonight's race more than it has in the past.
Yeah, I think you hit a really valid point right there. I noticed about 2 months ago, iRacing did a really nice update with the tires, and they got it really to the point where I noticed people taking 2 tires, being able to hang on and stay out ahead of some guys, even taking 4 until maybe 10, 15 laps. So when they pit at lap 30, there could be some people who might want to take 4, some who might want to take 2, and some doing fuel only. The one question I have is, you're going to need to pit one more time. So do you take 4 now, and later on, maybe if you pit again at lap 70 or 80, are you taking 2 or none at that time?
Yeah, the strategies of when you're going to come to pit road can be a big thing to watch out for. Another person that we have not given a shout out to tonight, but do want to give a shout out to, is race control for tonight's race. Steve Benjamin, who runs race control as well on Tuesday nights for the Full Sun Racing Series, is doing it this evening, helping out the drivers to let them know, hey, if there's penalties or the clear black flag penalties, and as well informing the drivers when we're getting closer to our competition yellow or the end of the race. Drivers are always appreciative to have a race control and a dedicated person being that extra eye to help out when there's an issue out on track, because when there isn't a race control outside and it's the drivers just running for themselves, it can be difficult. As we take a look at our conditions for the weather, we are looking at a pretty nice day. 76 degrees is our air temperature. That's the ambient temperature, but track temp 86. That is a nice cool temperature the drivers are working with. The wind just still moving, fluctuating up and down. That's going to be a factor to watch out for. If it gets high into the 10s or higher than that, I think that's when wind's a lot more of a concern. But at this current moment, a little bit of swirling action is that wind condition.
Yeah, and you can get a swirl. If you get a swirl coming out of the corner, it could get the car a little upset, especially on these older tires, and especially if you're on the inside line and you have to pinch that wheel down, that extra spec, could make it get a little loose coming out of the corner. So something to be mindful of, especially on that inside line.
And the way that it just is moving so quickly from 4 miles per hour up to 10, and now it's dropping again, that change can be difficult to calculate for some of these drivers as we're 19 laps in. Thank you so much for everyone that's joining with us. We see you in the chat. We see Collie's mom screaming, let's go. How are you rooting for your fans? Who are you rooting for? Who do you want to see win tonight's race for the Hot Lap Threads? Fast and Left 250, first race of season 8. It's crazy that we made it to 8 seasons now, and it's been a pleasure to give the coverage of all the seasons here at WSSR and seeing the ebbs and flows, the drivers evolving into faster drivers. Some maybe didn't have the best of, showings in their first couple of races, but seeing drivers really elevate themselves to a point of aiming for the playoffs, and others just trying to make it through a full season. 20 laps in, and we still have ourselves a lot more racing to go. And I am excited to see who's going to be the first driver to make some big moves. Currently, there are some that have been moving up through the field, and that's going back in 22nd position, where we find Trevor Earhart, as well as 23rd place, where we find Richard Wilsifer. Both those drivers have moved up over going to be 12 positions for Richard Wilsifer, 9 positions for Trevor Earhart, both side by side. You see that lime green 83, that's Trevor Earhart. And to his outside was the 56 of Richard Wilsifer, trying to make their way forward and up quite a few spots. And this is the back half of the field where you're able to make a lot more moves, and I think they've kind of hit that gridlock space, but showing that they can make moves. And Justin, sometimes it's always nice being the back marker of making your way forward through these Daytona races, because you can test out options for yourself.
Yeah, and you can play different strategy back there, knowing that you're back there. You have all your cards out. Right now, you can maybe pit early, maybe get in there before that caution, get the tires done. You shouldn't lose the lap, get in there clean, get out, get in there with maybe 4 or 5 cars, be in the draft, come out, and then you catch that caution, you cycle right back to the front. It could be a play. It could be something we might have to watch here.
Looking now to see how they're going to be running, as John Forbes in the 11 machine running out here tonight, part of the Cod Monster Motorsports team that also has Joshua Kanata and Cody Reed. The 11 bring out a new scheme that's made by our race sponsor of Hot Lap Threads, also a driver that's affiliated with Hot Lap Threads. And if you'd like to be affiliated with Hot Lap Threads, go on over to hotlapthreads.com and go check out the driver affiliation program. Try to be affiliated by one of the drivers trying to become a bigger apparel store for drivers and showing off schemes. And for drivers here tonight, if you win, Hot Lap Threads is going to make you a custom winning t-shirt that is dedicated for tonight's race. So everyone not just running for their own points to lock themselves in the playoffs and also just trying to maximize your points for the first race and start on the right foot. There's also a little bit of items to be grabbed. And as well, this is one race of 3 for the Triple Crown event. Drivers were able to sign up and getting ready to run for the Triple Crown, where drivers have 2 other races after this. They're going to be trying to see who can have the best finishes of those 3 races, and they will win of the prize pool. Drivers certainly hoping for the best at those races, as I believe will also be at Michigan and Phoenix. Going to be the other tracks that the drivers have. It's Michigan and then at Darlington that are the Triple Crown races the drivers have next listed. As we are closing in quickly to our competition yellow, Justin, 24 laps in, what are you noticing, or does this look pretty traditional to what you would like to see here at Daytona right now?
This is traditional to what the drivers probably would like to be seeing right now. I think, like you said, under 6 to go, you're going to have people probably want to test maybe with 2 laps to go before the competition cautionary. This way you can get a good idea for what do you have later on in the race. What do you have when there's 5 to go on lap 95, lap 96. You might want to be able to test in that here with the final 2-3 laps in this run. Especially the 52, I noticed he's pushing pretty good down there for that 21, and you've got to start wondering, is the car potentially getting hot too? Because you do notice him pull out a little bit, maybe trying to get some air on that car.
Now, do you want to rest your engine, or do you go full bore? 6 laps to go before this competition caution comes out, unless the yellow flag comes out before then. Still no one is pointing their nose or trying to show signs that they are willing to go 3 wide. It's pick your lane. If you like to fill in a spot down low or up high, you kind of take that option. In the chat, we also have Stacy rooting for Michael Bennett at 41 machine, trying their best to move forward. Currently back in 19th position, right around where they started, and hoping to find themselves in a better spot later on here tonight, as it's still that of Brian McCann. Ross Tatum leading the charge up front. Ross Tatum trying to recover after last season, was hoping for a championship, didn't come around, was actually kind of a weaker season for the 21. As when he got caught up in messes, it was more so of I'm just going to take a seat and watch and come back for next week. But if it was a good race to stay out there and fought as much as he could, Brian McCann being a driver that you know can be fast and is willing to be quick at every track we go to. I'm excited what this 8 is going to prove in the Gen 4, like he's proven on Tuesday nights in the Xfinity car. Justin, something that I was talking about a lot last season. The rookie class, we had over 16 rookies join last season. This season we have 10 rookies. But the iRating, the strength of the field rating, is massive here this season. There's a few outliers on the lower end, but if you take those outliers out, the average strength of the field is about 3.8 for 3.8K iRating. That is well above average and on the faster end of things for most leagues you join. It is crazy to see how quick these drivers are.
Yeah, and I think that shows right now how we're able to run, as we do maybe have some pit stops.
Now we do. We actually are going to have Cedric Hunter, Brian Noel, as well as going to be seeing Douglas Newbegin and Edward Scherer, who's going to be junior, joining into the mix, hitting the pit road, deciding is Lucky Ducks Motorsports to make the early pit stop, deciding, hey, this is around the window, your last chance to enter pit road, as pit road is closed with 2 laps to go for our comp yellow. That would be next lap And it's once the leader crosses the line that is when pit road is closed. So Lucky Ducks taking the last opportunity to hit pit road. They want that track position for whenever this stage is done.
And I think that speaks volumes because they're going to have really good track position after this caution. Very smart on their end.
They have to make sure that they have to stay on the lead lap. If one of them goes a lap down, hey, they'll get a lucky dog position back. But if multiple of them go a lap down, they're going to take the wave around and not top off on fuel. Hard decisions were made. 2 laps to go before the comp yellow will come out. And all Lucky Ducks currently is on the lead lap, but you can see them. They're scattered, they're staying low, and it's time for the field to try to test out a little bit of 3 wide action on the front stretch into the corner. Looks like majority of them will be clear of the Lucky Duck drivers of Douglas Newbigging and Edward Schur Jr. And they're closing in mighty fast on Noel and Hunter. Will they have to pass those lone 2 drivers because they're running so much faster? Let the drama kick up as we're on the last lap before competition yellow will be thrown. And the drivers have to test out 3 wide once again entering turn 1.
The 21 is going to go high. That's very smart. He's going to get away from those 2 cars that are not up to speed yet.
Staying high is most of the field. Noel Hunter will stay low. A little bit of a preview of 3 wide racing. They try to stay steady and down onto the apron. All of Lucky Duck Motorsports will be finding themselves in a position of just staying low and going a lap down. Cody Reed, though, getting excited. What's the 52? He'll go down on the bottom of the double yellow. That is legal to go down there. Poking Ross Tatum into the center position. Ryan McCann's got the speed, but Cody Reed, who won Talladega, the last super speedway race, wants to be the stealer of coming to the competition yellow and being the leader, the 52. If the race ended there, he would have won by 7 thousandths of a second.
The 52 just showed the viewers what he might be doing on last lap of that race. As a move that he was practicing on, we talked about it earlier. Everyone's got to keep an eye out for that later on.
A double yellow is fair game, and Cody Reed utilized it. Got Ross Tatum shuffled out, and Ross was battling for the lead, moves down to 5th. McCann was so close, but I believe the yellow flag was thrown right before they crossed the line. And the timing of that is a little close. I believe Ryan McCann will keep the lead, but that was a fabulous finish to the line. That's your first 30 laps in the books, and Justin, that's a great preview of just what we're expecting to see at the end of this race.
Yeah, I think these drivers gave us the first 28 laps of just being calm and chill. Those last 2 laps are what we're going to be seeing in the second half of this race.
Oh, I'm excited for it as drivers about to be entering pit road as they're waiting for the pace car catch up to them before they can rev forward. I'm just curious on how Cody Reed's feeling after that one because he was ramping his way forward. But I do not believe that we have the ability to pull Cody Reed into pit road. But as the drivers get prepared, entering pit road, we will actually step aside for ourselves. When we come back, we'll tell you where the drivers are lined up and ready for racing action. As you're watching the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series, it's the Season 8 opener for the Hot Lap Threads Fast and Left 250 at the 08 Daytona. It's been a pleasure to give you the coverage of the first 30 laps. We'll take it to the end right after this when we come back for this commercial break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting for WSSR coverage. We were just about to go back to green flag racing, but the drivers had some complications under yellow, as it was some contact being made between drivers on the entry of turn 1 2 laps ago. It was Ben gonna be Keeney, who decided to come in a little bit too hot, made some contact with some drivers that ultimately got about 6 other drivers arc of braking into the incident. And the worst is going to be to Brandon Colley, who finds himself with a meatball flag for the one machine, as it just was a little bit of a lack of focus for some drivers, as we were going to come back and talk about the fact that Cedric Hunter and all of Lucky Ducks was just about to get back under lead lap conditions. Instead, some contact was made as they were closing in here. You're going to see Kyle Heath gets ran over by Ben, which causes drivers to go down, but then there was more contact of the Bennett being ran over by Kaufman, who then has Bennett running down into the one machine, and Brandon Colley getting a meatball flag. It looked to be slight contact to his wheel well that forces him to go into pit road. Going to be still in pit road with heavy damage. Other drivers also going to be Joshua Kerner as well as James Kaufman still in pit road getting service done. A wild situation that brings us back after what you would think would be a simple underpacing back to green flag action, and there was no on-track incident before that. Instead, we find ourselves with multiple drivers heavily damaged. I wouldn't count that as the big one just yet, Justin, but what a weird situation to have as we're getting ready to get back to green flag action. Well, let's see if the chaos wants to happen on screen or not for these drivers, as they're getting prepared and ready to go for ourselves for the rest of this race. We ran 30 laps clean and green. Well, it's time for the hot lap threads. Fast and left, 250 to get back underway. Ross Statham, huge launch for himself. Johnny Brooks going to be leaning back on Benjamin Nelson as that inside lane. They looked a lot more grouped up. Here we go down into turn number 1 here, Justin.
Yeah, the 20's coming back really faster. That 21 got too big of a jump. He's already falling back. They're going to second, third, fourth. Maybe they're going to settle in right now, it looks like. But we'll see if that outside line can march back up. As the leader, Brugg, does go high. It looks like maybe it was, yeah, they're all going to go high. It's going to leave the 3 on the inside.
They're all going to go high, but there seemed to be an issue of drivers making passes. There's a couple of black flags that need to be cleared. Big one, Ross Tatum, who could be getting a black flag for taking off too soon, as he was not the lead driver. That was to Johnny Brooks, who was the lead driver in the 21, trying to get down low, not able to do so, and now he's in trouble because if he stays out for too many laps, could get disqualified from this race.
Yeah, he may need to pull up high on the back straightaway here and get to the back, so he's able to drop down low. This is still a long race. This race is not over for him. He needs to just get in there, serve the penalty, and see what happens. It's still a long race.
And for Joshua Kerner, still in pit road for the 22. Brandon Colley update on the one machine. He had to pull back into pit road, ran a lap, but just there was too much damage for himself. He's trying to get that damage repaired and hoping for a quick yellow to get back onto the lead lap if possible. Those are your 2 drivers in pit road. James Kaufman is finding himself away from the lead pack. The rest of the field, our other 35 drivers, all still in contact with the draft and up front. It's Brooks, as well as the 3 of Ryan Kelly. Talked about Kelly earlier in the race and the fact that the 3 was giving plenty of space with drivers around him. Well, now he's taking the front pack and doesn't have to worry about space as he's the leader.
Yeah, we did talk about that. Very impressed with the 3 on that restart. I believe he was on the inside row, 4th car back, and he drove it to the front, and now he's there. He was patient the first 30 laps, and he's showing his muscle.
Also saw pop up for a quick second, Nick Crawford, fastest lap of the race. His drivers are getting up to speed as deeper in the field. They've got a lot of drafting space to work with, ramp up their momentum, and where do you want to place yourself? Majority of the field still side by side all the way through until you get back to around 23rd, where they're starting to single file out just a little bit. The drivers now into question. When do you want to hit pit road, as we're given the window of 45 to 48 laps was the fuel distance. Now the question looms of if this race stays green, that pit stop's going to be very crucial on when you want to hit pit road, because going to be hitting pit road here in the next round, 12 to 15 laps from here.
Yeah, you can get in that window and you could be good to go for the rest of the distance. So it is something we're going to keep an eye out. We did see some people choose to pit a little earlier and it didn't work out for them. One of them being the 13 of Cedric Hunter, who I did see just turned the fastest lap of the race at a 45.6, I believe it was. And he's already up a couple positions. He did get the wave around and he's already moved up.
He's moved up to 22nd position as that 13 machine. Other drivers of note you're seeing on screen up top is the Ford. That's Mason Cassidy. Cassidy has shown a lot of growth as a driver, primarily known as being a dirt driver on the iRacing service. Moved over to asphalt for last season. Also ran in some other leagues that we covered during that time. And the Ford really has grown into a lot more of a confident driver, taking those dirt track skills over to this Gen 4. Going to be side by side with John Forbes in the 11 as they're trying to find a way to crack into our top 10.
Yeah, in this second part of this race, we're starting to see a little more cars be closer together. We saw some of that space. We talked about the 3 giving some space earlier in the race. Now you're starting to see a little bit less space back in the middle, and this is what could lead to some dicey situations as we go through this run.
Also starting to see drivers right behind the 11 machine. That's Christopher Norris, who's trying to make his way forward, and the 31 of Kyle Heath, who's just involved with our underpacing incident. That 31 luckily was just on the rear end, so doesn't have to worry about too much damage, and luckily in the draft, able to continue to push forward. But seeing Cedric Hunter muscling his way through the middle of 13, showing, hey, there is strength in the middle, and he's going to have the 45 of Cora Russell going to be making his way through the middle as well. Hey, that a little bit of showing. Hey, there's speed, there's spacing. Might as well take it and move our way forward.
Yeah, he went 3 wide. He had the help from 45 behind him. That was impressive. That's something we're going to have to keep watching, because if you can make the moves, come through the middle, you're going to be able to pass.
Cedric Hunter once again got the Lucky Duck, got the Lucky Dog Award, excuse me, as the Lucky Duck machine is trying to make his way forward, but started back, had to get around all that carnage. Drivers had to enter pit road, but very speedy is this 13, even with that decision to come into pit road right before our competition yellow. As the field is getting closer and closer to halfway, starting to see some other new names cracking inside of our top 10. Biggest mover right now, drivers from where they started to where they are now, it's Isaiah Sutherland in the 14 machine, working his way forward. A lot of drivers, some complimented, some were not too big of a fan of the 14 machine's racing style, but he's running the Jeff Gordon throwback scheme of the back of the day in the Flames. But Isaiah Sutherland, a very aggressive driver, willing to poke the nose where he feels like he can hold and make some big moves. Sometimes it irritates other drivers around him, but that aggressiveness is what can put Isaiah Sutherland in a spot where he could be one of the threats to make it into the playoffs at the end of the season.
I like what you hear from the 14. You got to be aggressive at this track, like we've been saying, 2x2x2. How can you pass the 14 if he makes a move? Because we do have a car low. Looks like he maybe was pulling over.
Yeah, that was very odd. 2 very different ideas of how they wanted to get out of the way. You had Joshua Kerner, who decided to go down almost into the grass through the tri-oval to let the field go on by, and then James Kaufman staying to the wall. So we were a very quick second 4 wide, an unorthodox 4 wide there. But the 25, I don't think you want to be staying behind him. He's dealing with a lot of damage still from that pacing under yellow incident. Caught up in one of those big wrecks. Has heavy front end damage after running into the 41 of Michael Bennett during that time. So you see the rest of the field. They find spacing, get below the 25, and try to march their way forward.
Yeah, the 25 is going to want to try and tag on to the back of the field here and stay with the draft. And his race, it might not be looking good right now, but you don't know what will happen with these accidents, so he wants to still stay out there as best as he can.
As we look on board with the 2 machine of Danny Cochran, one of the drivers that was very quick. There were a couple of practice races throughout the week. The drivers got to test out their skills. Danny Cochran, a very skilled super speedway driver, just knows how to either, you can say he's got a lucky horseshoe that helps him get through the chaos, or some talent, but is very good at getting through the big wrecks and finding himself up front at the end of the day. This 2's going to try his best to fight his way forward. All the way back in 32nd position. A lot of work and a driver that was sneakily quick at the end of last season. Douglas Newbegin bringing out a new scheme this season. The 7. Oh no! Kaufman, Danny Cochran! Oh, it might be a little bit of commentator's curse as the 2 gets spun around.
Ooh, just when we talked about him. And that was some heavy damage on the front end. He's going to probably have a couple minutes of damage repair. That could end his night potentially.
Just a very awkward wreck between Danny Cochran and James Kaufman. Also involved with it was the 77, Brian Noel. And Danny Cochran just off for a quick second, a very aggressive move to the outside lane, and backfires quickly. It's going to be at the tri-oval, but you're going to see the momentum that this 2 builds up through 3 and 4, trying to close in on the back bumper of James Feeder. And just seeing the 2 off the exit of 4, closes in, thinks that he sees a gap, and just shoots to the top. And then it just like, almost like he brake checked. I don't think he did, but it was such a bizarre, just sudden slowdown that collected the 2 and as well the 25 and the 77.
Yeah, and you can see that damage right there, punctured right under the Chevy bow tie symbol. That could be some radiator issue long term. We're going to have to keep an eye on it.
Right on board Danny here. You're going to see him build up the momentum, closing in, and then bounces to the outside and gets clipped. It's just such a bizarre run.
You know, Sam, that's right in that tri-oval, and drivers do have a tendency to get loose sometimes, and maybe that quick move, maybe he just got the rear end a little loose and lifted ever so slightly, and the 25 just got right to him.
Also, could have been when Danny made that move to the outside, maybe he checked up just slightly, trying to make sure he didn't run over the 18. There's a lot of different factors. You don't have the in-race telemetry to see if the driver's let off or not, but that's going to be a major discussion after the race on what happened there. James Kaufman not happy over the radio with that incident. Danny Cochran obviously not feeling too great, as that will be our second caution of the day. First one was our competition yellow. Second one on track incident, and the field split decisions on if who wants to come into pit road and who didn't. This is one of those windows where drivers got to make that decision. Do you want to make this pit stop or not? But Justin, this is that strategy call, split decision, with some drivers deciding to stay out.
I like taking 4 tires here, fill it up right now, and knowing that you're about 8 laps away from making it on fuel. So if we do get another caution here, you can go in, just splash and go, and get your track position. Other drivers may want to take tires that did not pit here.
It looks to be a couple of drivers taking 2 tires. Bruggs, Nelson, going to be some of those that took 2 tires. A few others going to go with a splash and go. Majority of the drivers, though, deeper in the field. 4 tires and fuel for themselves. Thank you so much for joining with us here tonight. Thank you for spending your Wednesday evening. My name's Sam Dyer. I've got Justin Malarkey with me and Robert Moyer Jr. running productions in the background. What a season opener, a wild one. Almost feels like there might be a full moon out with that first yellow that came out was our competition yellow, but then there was a wreck under caution with drivers pacing to now seeing a bizarre wreck there with Danny Cochran and James Kaufman getting involved with one another. Well, Justin, almost halfway through our first on-track incident to bring out a yellow. Certainly these drivers now are going to be taking more knowledge in of we're almost at the halfway point of this race. I'm curious on what may change from this first half to the second half.
I think business is going to continue to pick up ever so slightly every lap that goes by. Right now, we're 47% of the way through this race. Drivers running back in 25th, they're going to want to start making their moves. They want to get up there. Drivers up front, they don't want to lose those spots. This restart's going to be key. We saw in the last restart the 21 get out there early. We talked about maybe would he have a penalty. It looks like he never had to serve one, so everything was clear there. Maybe he gave the positions back. He's running 3rd right now. He's going to want to try and get that lead back maybe on this restart and get his positions back so he can control the rest of this race.
Update on also Brandon Colley and the One Machine, who had to deal with was heavily involved in that first under yellow caution. He was given what we call a meatball flag. It's a required damage flag where the one had to come into pit road. Currently 5 laps down, still periodically coming into pit road to get damaged repair. Brian Noel going to be the most recent victim with required damage. The 77 in pit road and not showing very many signs that he'll be getting back out there any point soon. He most likely will be going multiple laps down. You hate to see that for drivers that were trying to linger in the back, but that's the gamble. You decide to stay in the back, you're close to a lot of the chaos and potential damage. And for some drivers, they survive. Others, they got to reset and get back into the mix as the field's getting ready to hit the backstretch. Justin, any thoughts before we get ourselves back to green flag racing and start to see maybe more of this chaos ramp up?
Well, there's 38 drivers. Unfortunately, only one could be leading the race. So you got 37 other positions up for grabs right now. We got Ken Campbell leading this race, but we want to go back to Ryan Kelly. He did have the lead on that restart. He chose to pit. He's back. Last I saw, I think he's back to 24th now. So we're going to have to see, did he make the right decision?
Yeah, that decision to stay in pit road a little bit of extended time. Maybe didn't feel like the damage that he included earlier on. Maybe there was something that he felt like he didn't want to get repairs for. Or I think what more so looks to be the favorable call, Ryan Kelly wanted to get back with his teammates from Ying Yang Racing. That's Ryan Kelly, James Heater, Larry Yingling, and Devin Brock all deciding to stay back and are going to be trying to stay queued up. So if they need to enter pit road, they're ready to go forward as
and Sam,
Nick Crawford going to be getting an end of the line penalty for himself.
I did notice on the timing and scoring, some people were going back into pits on the previous lap, maybe to top off, get that extra lap or two of fuel.
And I think that's exactly what they're going for as pace car pulls off into pit road. Let's get back to racing action for the hot lap threads. Fast in left 250. The season 8 opener for the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series is back underway. Inside groove looks a little bit more tightened up, but it's Ken Campbell with the lead for now as Chris Stitz trying to close in, but everyone's diving down low to the inside lane. Looks like that's where the comfort spot is as they exit out of turn number 2.
You do see the people going to the inside. Who will then reverse that and go to the outside where there's less cars, maybe make up some more ground?
To be our top 7 already branching away. There's a little bit, I think, a mishap maybe on that restart. Some drivers didn't feel too comfortable taking off, and it is really patched out this group. There is just small groupings that are starting to close in, and when there is space in between the driver and yourself, you can get some massive runs. And who's going to be the threat to try to go 3 wide, or do you just stay in line? Because I've got a feeling somebody's going to want to use that run in momentum, but surprise, everyone stays in line.
And at 21, looks like he may have potentially led that lap. He did start third. It is something to watch, especially on the late restarts. That's a few times now we saw the car in the inside lane, maybe in the second, third row, end up being the leader.
And 2 drivers, Justin, I don't know if you've seen our past broadcasts, but old series we used to cover on Thursday nights. Ken Campbell, Christopher Wade. These 2 were the dynamic duo of when you came to super speedways. If they ever got attached and were up front, they were the favorites to win. And right now, they're the lead 2 drivers on the outside lane. Watch out for the speed, as well as another strong super speedway driver. It's the 17 of Chris Stitz, who's out there running with this group. That is a powerful 3 drivers on the outside. We talk about power. That's what the inner group as well has, with Ross Tatum, last season's champion of Benjamin Nelson, and as well the rookie of Johnny Brooks. It's been kind of the favorite of everyone to be running around here tonight. This top 6 looks very strong at this current time.
And right behind those 3 cars in the inside line was our early leader, Brian McCann. I believe he may have led the most laps up to this point.
As you know, that he can maybe lead a couple of more, but leading the most laps does not 100% mean that you're going to be getting into victory lane. The only time a driver that's led the most laps has won the race was only back in season 1, where a driver led the most laps and got into victory lane. That was Corey Blevins, who found himself doing that speed. Everyone else that has won in the past 4 seasons to run here at Daytona has been a driver that has just won the race. Didn't lead the most laps, didn't have the pole. It's actually someone who led anywhere from 2 to 1 laps is the past winner. So maybe it's someone deeper in the field that's lingering that could be our winner here tonight. As we're past halfway, do you want to give another shout out to our amazing sponsors that help out for WSSR? Starting things off with our title sponsor, Roasted Gems Coffee. Well, talk about it. It's a great way to start your day off with Roasted Gems Coffee, but also they've got a great merch line. If you haven't checked it out, go on over to roastedgems.com. Go check out their merch line, see what you'd like to order, as well as get your coffee. And remember, use the promo code WSSR for 5% off on purchases. And as well, I want to give a huge shout out to our trophy maker and also affiliate with the WSSR Cup Series, going to be Trophy Smack. Trophy Smack talked about all the different ways that you can get items, either with the championship belt. You can also find yourself with the championship ring, trophy. What's the more? Well, the more is Wall Smack. Wall Smack is a high gloss metal piece of artwork where you pick the item, you pick the image that's going to be on your artwork. And as well, what's cool about their Wall Smack, you can place it on your wall, as they've got a magnet-free safe wall safe magnet system, to place on your wall if you like to put artwork on the wall just directly, or they also have stands that you can put your piece of artwork on. Go to trophysmack.com, look up Wall Smack, remember to use WSSR Smack for 10% off. Thank you to our amazing sponsors, and as well Kali's Mom for sponsoring the qualifying results. As we are back to the racing action, 2 cautions. One was our competition yellow. Our second was an on-track incident between a lap car and a lead lap driver. But look at this shot, Justin, just how close and bumpy these drivers are to one another.
You can see that front splitter popping off the ground as they go through turn 4. They come down the straightaway here, right through the tri-oval, and you'll see it bouncing around again there, down on the 6. Super bouncy, this track. Very easy to get the car upset. The closer they get, the longer we go through this race, the tighter it's going to be, and potentially you're going to have some cars underneath some other cars.
And you do not want to get underneath the driver in front of you. That was the major incident that kept on bringing out yellows a lot throughout last season. It was a driver giving a bad bump that was too hard and aggressive that would actually lift the rear end, get that rear tire off the ground, as the field's going to get valiant in the lap car. That's Brian Noel, who finally gets back out on track, but is running the rest of the field. They're going up to almost 205 miles per hour on the entry of the corners. Noel right there, max speed of 178. That is a massive difference on speed with these drivers running as close as they are.
And the 6 is right there now. We saw that Roasted Gems Coffee sponsor logo right there, was right panned up on the back of the camera. That's how close he got. The 45 pulled right down in front of him, switching lanes. That was Nicholas Corsell.
Purcell going to be trying his best to move forward. Qualified back in 19th, but like we said, qualifying just helped on where your pit box is going to be. And it doesn't really mean that you're going to be finishing where you qualified. We see someone that qualified last win tonight's race if they're able to get into the right spacing and positioning to get up front. I mean, Christopher Wade, who leads this race currently, is up that of 11 positions. Got the 71 machine, Edward Scherver Jr., rookie coming into this season. Excited to see what they're going to be bringing here tonight. Joining the Lucky Ducks Motorsports team. Always excited to see the rookies are going to be running. But a rookie that won the championship last season, it's the ex-Peak Antifreeze driver of Benjamin Nelson. Got back into racing and really hit his own form at the end of last season. He was practically untouchable, was the 79. And right now, running inside groove, second car on the inside, is Benjamin Nelson at this current moment for last season's champion. And I'm curious if he's going to show any weakness, or could he win at a super speedway? Still searching for that first super speedway win, as he's trying to close in the gap as close as he can. This is what's fun about this new graphics system, as pit stops underway as you're seeing a cluster of drivers decide it's time to go in, and oh no, Norris gets bumped running into other drivers. And just like that, issues didn't bring out not a yellow, but drivers having issues on their pit entry. And that was actually Zach Hall that got hit by Christopher Norris.
Yeah, we're going to have to see if there's any damage on those 2 cars. That looked like it could be potentially some on the left rear. Maybe that was some brake lockup.
Other drivers also not having the pit entry that they wanted was Richard Wolsifer, who missed his pit entry. And the reason why all these drivers pitted when they did, they were hoping to go with an undercut pit stop, that they could pit sooner and have enough drivers they could take off and not lose any time. But with the amount of drivers that were caught up in that wreck and the amount of damage, this group that decided to come into pit road, this could backfire on them. We saw the Lucky Ducks pit and go a lap down and not show enough speed with just 2 drivers in line. They're going to have to hope that 4 drivers in line is going to be enough, as we got Nick Crawford, Johnny Bruggs, Brian Johnson, and Christopher Norris trying their best to catch up. But this grouping of drivers, what a shocking moment to see that type of wreck happen. Justin, that's the scare of entering pit road here at Daytona.
That is the scare. They had a goal. They wanted to come in early. It didn't work out. We're going to have to see if they're able to stay on the lead lap. The leaders are coming fast. They're already out at exit 4. They're only at the other side's only at the start-finish line. It's going to be close.
It's going to be very close. And re-looking at it, Christopher Norris getting ran over by Richard Lucifer was the reasoning for that pit entry wreck. And now the drivers having to come into pit road for the second time. Christopher Norris not able to stay out fully. He'll have to make another stop. And all the other drivers are caught up heavily in that wreck or left on their own islands, as they're not going to be close enough to be a part of this pack, this grouping of 4. They have to hope that they can get up to speed, ramp up, and not lose too much time. But man, what a huge loss.
The one benefit, they do have a lap car. They were about to pass there. Maybe they can become a 5-car team. They were at 38.1 seconds. We'll have to keep an eye on that.
And that other car that they're trying to tag along with was Richard Lucifer, who's dealing with some front-end and engine damage. Too slow to keep attached. But this front pack still out on track, and they can go, this front group, still for another 15 to 20 more laps. They can stretch it out a lot further than what other people might be aiming for. And I mean, this is when it comes down to that crunch time moment. If you make early mistakes like we just saw, that group that came into pit road and got caught up in that wreck, if you make a mistake, you might be able to recover because there's enough time in this race. You got 40 laps left. But if you stay out as late as possible, that mistake could hurt you. As take a look at our top 5 board. Again, a huge shout out to Robert Moyer Jr. for getting our new graphics set up for this season. So excited and proud of all the hard work that we saw Robert put into, and seeing all the new widgets that we have to show to the audience. It's exciting times as well. With new graphics, new person with me up at the booth, Justin Malarkey. Justin, it's been a pleasure to have you up in the booth. 60 laps in the books. We still have about 39 laps to go here tonight. That one pit stop obviously hurting drivers, but what about this pack? What do you think their mentality might be to tackle for the rest of this race?
Well, I think as we come to lap 62 here, what we're seeing right now is a lot of cars getting down to that low line. Maybe some getting ready to pit. That outside line looks like it's starting to lose cars. Every time that camera pans, I'm seeing less and less cars up on that outside line. So something to keep an eye on. Maybe they're getting ready to pit some cars.
That's usually a good sign if you're seeing drivers all march down to the low end and that outside cruise starts to dissipate. It's a sign that most of the drivers in the field want to enter pit road, as they're going to drive on by past Christopher Norris 4 laps down. For a driver that felt confident and maybe a top 10 finish was in his wings. Instead, he's got to hope that more drivers get caught up in some massive wrecks as we continue to race this thing out, expecting when do you hit pit road. We can't wait to see how this race is going to conclude. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, more racing coverage. When do you hit pit road? When do you don't? We'll have to find out after this, as you are watching the WSSR Roast to Gems Cup Series Season 8 opener. It's been a pleasure to give you all the coverage. Already mistakes being shown for the hot lap threads, fast and left 250s. It's been a pleasure to watch. Can't wait to see who's going to get the win here tonight. We'll see you right after this.
They're 5 wide behind her pit. Oh my, the 5 wide here. This ain't gonna work. They make it last. Bumping and banging to the end. They're beating banging for the lead. Sora still with the shot here, coming off a 4. That's it.
It's bottom line, here it comes.
Oh no, the car gets wrecked. It's gonna be that Nick Crawford. The 74 gets through. So
somehow, and they just completely demolish one another. Driving down low, drifting up, trying to be the stealer. Here he comes, Cedric Hunter. He does it, he steals it.
But he somehow drove it into the corner to wreck
Oh,
him.
they wrecked! They wrecked each other. The top two bounced into one another. Just too much of side drifting off of, and they got to be careful. Oh no! The 4 demolishes in the 28.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series, the Season 8 opener, as drivers have been trying to figure out when do you want to hit pit road that could be your money stop of the evening. We've seen already takers to become the first drivers to hit pit road right on the limit, but others, it looks like they're stretching as far as they can possibly go. Well, welcome to the show again. My name is Sam Dyer. I've got Justin Malarkey with me up in the booth, and Robert Morey Jr. running productions in the background. Tonight's race have had a couple of yellow flags come out. One was for a competition caution. One was a small little incident that happened at the end of the line. But most of these drivers have been keeping it clean and green. A lot of movement, though, on the lead. The lead change is a majority of the front leader of the outside lane, the front leader on the inside lane going back and forth across the line. But Justin, a lot of drivers starting to show some movement now in the middle of the field.
Yes, and we talked about it earlier, the 53 to 15 and the 17 up there being super fast, all three of them drafting really well together. The one concern, when they have to pit, you cannot pit from that outside line.
Yeah, that outside line is going to be a tough one to figure out. When do you want to shuffle in and find that gap that allows you to drop down low? Currently, it looks like the drivers on the outer lane not showing any signs that they want to get out of the way just yet. Drivers have already pitted and are out there on track currently, being led by the 79 of Benjamin Nelson, also Brian Johnson, Johnny Bruggs, and Nick Crawford have made their pit stops. They are the leaders on the drivers that made their stops and hoping to stay on the lead lap. But they are being caught by our lead group at this current moment at a pretty quick pace. But here is your lead drivers, Zach Hall leading the charge, but Zach's one lap down. And they've got a bunch of other drivers that are a lap down dealing with damage. And I don't think Zach's really the spot where he wants to be. I think he would rather have him in the middle if he's a damaged vehicle currently.
Yeah, you want to have the most aerodynamic car definitely out front. They might want to try and get around him just so that they can gain that little bit of extra speed. You do not want to go a lap down this late in this race.
And Zach Hall in this grouping is the last pack before they go a lap down. There are a few other drivers that are one lap down. James Kaufman's one lap down. He's in the middle of this lead pack, trying to make sure he is in that lucky dog position. And a few other drivers as well, multiple laps down, such as Joshua Kerner, Christopher Norris, Brandon Colley, as well as Brian Noel. You see this small little pack, they're being caught up quickly, Justin.
Yeah, all of a sudden it looks like a couple sharks back there getting ready to run down these minnows up here running. It's going to be really interesting. Maybe in about 2 laps they might start sniffing that draft and they're going to catch them even faster. The one benefit though, these drivers did pit. The rest of the group has to still.
They still have to pit, and we're closing in on 30 laps to go. Thank you so much to everyone that's been joining with us and commenting down below. I do want to say, hey, if you haven't subscribed already, it would be a massive help to us here at the broadcast scene, Freaky Fast broadcast scene. As well, subscribing, liking, commenting, it helps the drivers as well. On top of that, the more eyes that we get on these broadcasts, more eyes and sponsors that can be helping out these leagues to help these drivers get higher rewards and also get some higher quality drivers into each and every league that we have. It's always a blast to see the quality of drivers. I know that was something we touched on for a quick moment, but Justin, the quality of drivers that are in this series, it is so much higher than the average league that you'll watch throughout YouTube or on Twitch. These drivers really are some of the cream of the crop that are just outside of going for pro.
Yeah, what you're watching tonight, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching drivers that are they're above the average out there. This is a Premier League. You're seeing guys be able to manhandle these cars without making any mistakes. You're not seeing guys slide up into anyone else coming out of the corner. You're seeing them be able to push without wrecking. You're seeing them go 3 wide when they need to, and we haven't even gotten to the final 10 laps.
That's when things are going to get reckless and crazy, and as well, periodic thoughts of who can survive pit road. We've already seen green flag pit stops be catastrophic for some. Will it be bigger for others? Is going to be a big question as we look at Statham, as well as Edward Sherwood Jr., that of Ryan McCann, and others that are on the inside lane. Where do you want to place yourself as we hop on board with the 71 machine? Trying to give a bump to Ross Tatum and this 21, who continues to just hold steady and trying to run as smoothly as he can through these bumpy corners.
Yeah, I've been watching Ed Jr., and he looks really smooth. He was able to get up there and push the 21. And, you know, something we've noticed, the inside line actually kind of what cleared that outside line a little bit. And that's something to watch. When you get a good driver behind you, be able to push like we're seeing right here, right up there. You don't see the Chevy symbol anymore. That's how close he is. That's going to drive through turns 3 and 4 with the extra momentum. And that's what you want on that final lap. The 21 might be really looking forward to keeping that 71 behind him.
Keep that driver behind. Another thing of note to watch out for, tire wear. These drivers have been out here on track for some for over 30 laps on this tire set, for some even more than that, because some drivers just topped off on fuel. Some only took 2 tires under stage caution. That was only back at the end of lap 30. So for some drivers, they're in that question mark phase of, do they have enough tires to even make it to the end, or the handling to fall off just randomly for some. That happened to one of our drivers of Devin Brock, who found himself in the outside wall, just loss of grip through the center of the corner for the 91 machine, and he's now off the lead pack and going to be going a lap down here in the next 5 to 8 laps.
Yeah, the tire wear is going to be really key, especially on this pit stop. You're going to have a couple scenarios happening. Right now, when they get into pits, they're going to be jamming on these brakes. These tires might not be able to hold that. One thing the driver's got to remember, adjust that brake bias. Do you want a little more rear brake, a little more front brake? Driver preference. Then they're going to get in. Don't slide through the pit box. You got old, worn tires. You slide through that pit box, your race could be over with a couple, 2 or 3 second delay and getting it jacked up. Then, when you leave, you got wheel spin. You don't want to get wheel spin on these old tires if you choose not to take them. And then you got to go through turns 1 and 2, stay under that yellow line, all while trying to carry as much speed as you can to keep the momentum up.
That's going to be a big thing to watch out for. Some drivers going to be about 8 laps shy from taking this race to the end. Others going to have to hit pit road in the next 5 to 8 laps. Those that are in that question mark zone, Ross Tatum is in a big spot. He's been out there now for 44 laps on this tire set and fuel run. Again, there was a yellow that helped him out, so he might be able to stretch it out another couple of more laps with another driver with him, Christopher Wade, Ken Campbell, as well as Chris Stitz, all in a position where they're going to have to come to pit road. And some of those drivers right now, Justin, trapped on the outside. They've got to find spacing to get down low to come to pit road in the next handful of laps.
Yeah, as we see a nice push from the 71 right there to the 21. Yeah, if you're stuck on that outside, you're going to want to get down to the bottom, but do you want to give up track position? It's the worst feeling to do so. You worked so hard, fought so long over these 76 laps to stay up there. You do not want to give that spot up, but we do need to make mention of 13. He was a lap down. We said never count anyone out at Daytona or Talladega. He got the lap back. He is up there. Does he have some kind of strategy up his sleeve to get to the lead?
Yeah, I mean, we had Cedric Hunter. He was the Lucky Dog Award winner under our our competition yellow that came out at the end of lap 30. Another driver that actually could take the wave around at that time was Edward Sherwood Jr. in that 71. So those drivers from Lucky Duck had to really mount back and work their way forward. Really learned a lot on how this draft is going to influence your vehicle making passes. And they're going to be trying to set up to make these big moves, as some drivers recognizing, hey, we're closing in on 20 laps to go. At some moment, you're going to have to hit pit road, and it looks like we're starting to see signs that they might be in the next couple of laps, because a lot of drivers are ducking down low.
Yeah, we just saw that blue and white car there, ducked right at the last second to get down to that inside line. Maybe he's going to be pitting. We're going to find out in about 30 seconds when we get back over to turns 3 and 4. Right now, the 21 does get the lead back. 53 is still hanging on that quarter panel all day long. The 71 is so strong at pushing, though. We're going to have to keep an eye on that as the race goes on.
Keeps ticking down, but there is a group of drivers that soon should be caught unless these drivers hit pit road sooner, and that's being led by Benjamin Nelson, Brian P. Johnson, Johnny Brooks, and Nick Crawford, and a couple of other drivers. They're in a spot where they could be ran down, but hey, drivers hit pit road. It's Ross Tatum, but Tatum's all on his lonesome. No one else pitting with the 21.
That is going to be so costly. Now anyone went with him. He was one of the fastest drivers all race. You would think someone would pull off and stay with them. They would have a chance to go right back to the lead drafting with him.
The pole sitter has not won at Daytona since season 1, and with that move, it looks like we may see another pole sitter not be able to get into victory lane with no help. Most likely going to lap down is Ross Tatum's next predicament. That is a tough place to be, but we're seeing drivers up front showing that they are fast. The 31 of Kyle Heath and as well as the 14 are top leaders at this moment over the radio. They're hitting pit road, and how many other drivers will join them? Shane Tarian joins in the 9. A couple of others, they continue to stay out, but 3 drivers in at once. It's not a bad position to be in, but you do not want to get caught speeding. If you go over the speed limit, each driver going 190 miles per hour. They got to slow down to 60 miles per hour before they get to that line.
And we're seeing, I'm watching right here, Ross Tatum. He's only just coming out now. The leaders are coming. They're going to get to him. The leader of your race, one of the most dominant cars, he's maybe going to go a lap down.
And a driver that was caught up with the initial under-pacing wreck. Then Keeney going to be right now in the 98 machine leading this race. What a flip of the storyline. Got him in a wreck. They got a lot of drivers involved in a wreck. Well, let's see if drivers can survive this pit entry as it's Storm Motorsports. Seeing the 17, 15, and as well as Christopher Wade joining in the mix. 3 drivers entering for themselves.
These were 3 cars that run that outside line. They were able to get to the bottom, but you did see some tire lockups. So will they put on 4 or will they go with 2?
Danny's trying to get down to the inside lane for that 98 machine, and there's just not a hole for it. I think the 98 knows it's time to hit pit road here shortly, or group up with some drivers that want to enter pit road as everyone's on that inside lane. The outside group has just completely disappeared as the 25 and the 98 almost make contact pit road. Still not entering for everyone. A couple of signs and fake outs. But we continue to stay green. 20 laps to go. And it's the 71, Edward Scherer Jr. leading the way with Cedric Hunter, his teammate from Lucky Duck Motorsports, leading the charge. And Brian McCann right outside. These top 3, they're starting to gap away from these other drivers.
Yeah, the gap in these drivers is going to change the speed. You want it, the bigger the group, the bigger the speeds are going to be. Right now, they're a little bit apart, so that could be a different strategy for some of the guys that maybe pitted already are hoping that if they partner up, they maybe can get back to the lead when the pit stops cycle through.
We continue to keep our sights on the lead pack, but update on the drivers that pitted sooner than everyone else. There is still a large group being led by Benjamin Nelson. It was a grouping of just 4 drivers. It's now mounted up to almost 9 to 10 drivers, lap cars mixed in between. But it's Brian B. Johnson, Johnny Bruggs, Nick Crawford, Isaiah Sutherland, Kyle Heath, Shane Tarian going to be the drivers that are on the lead lap in this second pack, you could say. And they are looking very quick, Justin, that if they are running so fast with this grouping of drivers that are here, they're running faster than the leaders at this moment.
Yeah, that could be something that we're talking about where it could change the position running order for a lot of these cars. That's a bigger group right now than what we have out on track, and that might be the secret to getting to the front.
And right now, Storm Motorsports trying to get in line, letting the lead lap drivers pass, but another grouping of drivers throwing it down into pit road. And contact's actually going to be made as trouble. Multiple drivers in the grass as it's Larson Line and Con Monster all making contact into pit road. And multiple black flags for drivers. Devin Brock, Danny Cocker, Cody Reed, all unsafe pit entries. Joshua Kanata struggles to get into his box. This group just had a complete meltdown into pit road with 17 laps to go.
Yeah, we're seeing now 80 laps into this race. People are starting to make a couple mental errors there. That's costing them positions.
It just is a fall apart moment. Edward Scherer Jr. leading the way. Still no sign of hitting pit road. They can still go another 10 more laps. And Brad Delp, oh no, trouble for the 6. As it looked like he was trying to find a way to go into pit road and gets ran over by Ross Tatum. And the 6 enters pit road by himself, but that's another driver with a black flag. And when you get a black flag for an unsafe pit entry or speeding, that's 40 seconds. You have to sit in pit road. You're going a lap down, if not more, with an issue like that. And That's unfortunate this late in the race. Some other drivers over the radio going to be entering pit road. We're expecting another gaggle of cars. How are they going to fan out into pit road, or will we see another contact and mess as they enter pit road here?
Yeah, right now we're gearing up for some potential accident to happen. We got guys on different tires, different strategies. We have a couple more cars peeling off. Looks like Trevor Earhart, and he's sliding the tires. He may have been speeding. He came in super hot.
That is more drivers with black flags. Trevor Earhart, black flag for speeding on entry. Michael Bennett with his speeding pit entry for himself as well. You might be wondering, why are there so many issues happening? Justin, these brakes, a lot smaller than what current NASCAR uses. It's tough to slow down with these cars.
The brakes are smaller, the speeds are still high, and the tires are old. And they're sliding through these boxes we saw, and they're sliding through these yellow lines. They're getting in there maybe about 65 miles an hour. They need to be slower than that. They're getting the penalties. It's changing the outcome of this race, as we do not have any more drivers peeling off right there at that moment.
No, the drivers that are peeling off are those that are still just sitting there waiting for the black flags to be served, get back out there on track. Currently, we've got 18 drivers left on the lead lap, and of those 18, we're still waiting for around our top 14 to enter pit road. It is tough at this moment to figure out where you're going to be slotted once this pit cycle fully goes around, but it's looking like Benjamin Nelson in 10th place, all the way down to 17th runner of John Forbes. Those are your 7 drivers to watch out for that can be running for a chance to win here tonight, because they're running faster than the lead pack. They're pulling away, and on top of that, the lead pack, every time that someone goes into pit road, they're not able to group up with this faster pack.
That is very true. And if we think back to one of our first pit stops, it was the 21 Ross Tatum. He pitted alone. At first, we were very concerned for him. But as it turns out, maybe that worked out for him. He got in clean, fast, was able to exit, and he was able to get back out there with other cars who started pitting, and those people lost more time as they were coming in, sliding through the tires, getting penalties. It might be something that worked out for him.
Might have worked out. We'll have to keep our eye on how this pit cycle fully develops forward. 13 laps to go, and we're still waiting on the chance of our top 9 drivers. When are they going to hit pit road? Do they wait for that late caution? And the reason why they continue to stay out, there has been a trend for every Daytona race. There's been 5 Daytona races in the past. There is always finished in overtime. And this lead group might be trying to predict there could be an overtime attempt looming, but they need that caution to wave before they have to enter pit road.
Now, Sam, let's think. What if there is no caution? Ryan Kelly, we talked about it about halfway. We believe he went in and topped off because he was the leader. He went back 23rd. We saw him come back into the pits another time on the ticker. Did he top off? Did he save fuel riding in the back the whole time? Was he running 3/4 throttle? Is he still running 3/4 throttle?
Oh boy, going to be a little bit of 3-wide action with lap cars staying high. Lead pack continues to drive forward. And looking at that Ryan Kelly update on the fact that he didn't top off on fuel, the one thing that makes me concerned is he would have to have saved an extra 4 laps of fuel on top of what other drivers have been saving. I mean, that's past the expiration date that we expect drivers can push their fuel as far as they can go. You'd have to, at that point, if you're the 3 of Ryan Kelly, just give up time. This is the pack we're seeing on screen with Brian P. Johnson as well as Zach Hall and Benjamin Nelson. This pack is what we're expecting to be the drivers to, once this pit cycle completes all the way through, become the lead group. But there's still a lot of, I think, if this lead pack really drops their pace, maybe they can save that extra fuel. But again, I believe they're going to be about 4 to 5 laps shy to be able to make it to the end of this race. They're going to be forced to hit pit road here in the next 5 laps.
And to remind the viewers, 4 to 5 laps may not sound like many, but on this big 2.5-mile track, you're talking over 10 miles. And when these cars get maybe 6-7 miles to the gallon, you're talking potentially being at over 1.8 to 2 gallons short.
So many different storylines. Got Lucky Duck leading the charge. Their unfortunate strategy calls didn't line up perfectly, as Edward Schur in first, second, Cedric Hunter in 4th place, Douglas Newbegin all had their own complications when they made their first pit stop back at lap 28. They went a lap down. Some had to take the wave around. Cedric Hunter got the lucky dog to get back in the lead lap, but they fought, they clawed, and now they're in a position where if they can get this late caution, it could time them to be in the better track position-wise for late in this race. They might have to come to pit road here in the next 3 to 4 laps because they're running out of fuel. A lot of jostling, though, happening. That's going to be the 98 of Ben Keeney, who's been having a lot of handling issues. He was caught up in that mess that initiated the caution, the wreck under our first caution, under our comp yellow. Right now, still in the lead lap in 6th place. And just a continuous cross your fingers, hope for the best moment. But it sounds like drivers are trying to get over the radio. It's lap traffic the leaders are slightly concerned about right now. I mean, that is always a troublesome position when you have lap traffic because some have different mentality. Some think about the apron, some go high. And you never know, Justin, where those lap cars can go. You just hope that they're predictable.
Yeah, we see them coming up right now in the 91. He's up high. You got the leaders going 201, 202, 203, 204. We've seen 205. You come up on a lap car going 170, 180. That is a 30, 40 mile an hour difference potentially if they're down into 160 with damage. Picture being on the interstate going 75 miles an hour and their car in front of you going 25. That is the difference in speed. It is tremendous. And these drivers, as we see them coming into pits, they got to get in clean.
They're going super fast, aggressive onto the entry, all sliding through. And that is Cedric Hunter, unsafe pit entry. Black flag for the 13. And everyone else somehow was able to slow down. I have no idea how the 71 did not get caught with a speeding penalty. It was just because Cedric Hunter grazed the grass drifting too far that he found himself with that black flag.
We talked about it all race, how he came back from being a lap down. Now he's going to have to fight all over again to get track position back. We saw Ed Jr. also sliding, but he saved it. He saved it, he got into his box.
Got it. This is going to be our new leaders. This is the lead pack as they drive on by. 7 laps to go. And taking the lead is Benjamin Nelson. He's not the lead driver. That's Zach Hall, who's trying to stay 1 lap down and is the driver that is currently would get the lucky dog spot at this current time is that 32 machine. But it's Benjamin Nelson and others trying their best to stay up front. We're expecting them to be the lead drivers, but interesting note, we talked about the different strategies. Some drivers deciding to take 2 tires on their pit stop. We've got that of Douglas Newbegin, Nicholas Corcel, as well as Larry Yingling, Brian McCann, all deciding to just top off on fuel. They are being ran down and caught. They might be able to get back up to speed enough to stay with this lead group. As the battle for the lead is Douglas Newbegin trying to hold back Larry Yingling, not able to do so. And here comes the scrap, the scatter, 3 wide, speed everywhere. As you're seeing the utter madness of Ryan Kelly working that outer lane. He's going to blast by into the 3rd position. And all that ramped up speed the outer lane has. And it's all a sitting duck for Larry Yingling as well as Brian McCann. As drivers now going to bounce in the middle lane. Going to be seen Benjamin Nelson, Brian P. Johnson. They are going to leave Brian Kelly out to dry. As here we go, Justin, about to be 5 laps to go. Let the chaos reign as we're 3 wide, 2 wide through the field.
The KS is definitely picking up the 3. He had it, he waited, he was so patient, and he got shuffled 3 wide. He's still stuck up there. He's trying to get down. He doesn't want to do it too soon. You don't want to risk coming across someone's bumper. He's just got to be able to crack that throttle and get back in line. He's hoping someone comes up there. He has someone, maybe 1 car up there. We're going to need about 3 or 4 cars to get some momentum. He's got no choice but to stay up there now.
Drivers now closing in on lap traffic. Lap traffic, are they going to make the decision of staying out on track or go to the apron? Some going to the apron. Cedric Hunter's going to be staying up high, forcing these drivers to go 3 wide for a quick moment, 4 wide with the 6 on the apron. But it's going to be side by side. Larry Yingling going to be the 3-time champ, trying to stay ahead of the driver that won the championship last season, of Benjamin Nelson. They're up to speed, full song. Some drivers are a lap down. Others are battling for position. 5, soon to be 4 laps to go. Who bounces it to that 3rd lane? Who's going to find that help? Because there's just too many lap cars, it looks like, from that 4th row on back, that just not enough drivers feel confident to go from that 3rd lane just yet. With 4 laps to go, Cody Reed showed how the apron could be used. Will anyone else try to utilize that same tactic as the 71 stays high and goes a lap down?
We're under 4 to go. We got Yingling, Nelson, McCann, Johnson, Newbegin, Brugg, Corso, Crawford, Heater, and Ryan Kelly rounding up the top 10. still anyone's chance. They got to make a move. Someone's going to have to either get aggressive, go to the middle, go high. You can't run 2x2x2. You're not going to win the race from there.
You're not at all. The driver that's leading those that are one lap down is going to be the fourth car on the outside of Richard Wolsifer, hoping to get back on the lead lap if caution flag comes out. He's not involved. But again, the trends here at Daytona is that we always find ourselves going to overtime. Could tonight break that trend? If we get the white flag, that will determine this race official, and the next flag to come out would be the checkered. But if we get a yellow flag with 2 laps to go, we head into overtime. Scattering back and forth in the middle groove. Drivers trying to find openings to make their way forward. It's Nelson, Yingling, Johnson, McCann, all searching for speed, but it's the 79, the 67. The 2 favorites to win the championship last season are the ones that are battling for the win to start season 8 as we're marching to 2 laps to go.
McCann pushing Yingling for everything it's worth. It does not matter anymore that if that engine it gets hot, he's going to run it. We got under 2 to go now. 2 to go. Yingling, Nelson, Johnson, McCann, Brugg. Who's going to make it?
For a quick moment, it looked like Zach Hall trying to make the pass on Richard Wolsifer. No one else was following him in suit. But first, jostle to the outside once again to 32. Wiggle from Richard Wolsifer. And Zach Hall bounces to the outside. He's trying to become the first driver 1 lap down to get that lucky dog spot. And the 32 not battling for position on the win, but battling for the stay as the first driver 1 lap down. Now going to be helping his teammate as Brian Johnson into the outside wall to make it coming to the white flag. The field has done it. We're able to stay green as we will find ourselves with our Roasted Gems white flag for the field. Coming up, or will we be able to see this field make it cleanly? We're going to be 3 wide for that 3rd place position. It's all Yingling. It's all Nelson. Johnson needs a massive shove and a little bit of help. Can he find it off the exit of turn 2? As there's a little bit of smoke and rubbing, but they keep it steady. Still, it's going to be Yingling as well as seeing Brian Johnson on the outside. But it's all last season's champ. Benjamin Nelson's getting the massive push and the help from Bruggs. Bruggs has just been the better pusher all week long. It's been the 20 that you've been hoping for all the help, and it's side by side coming to the line. Corso's gonna wreck off, but it's side by side. 3 wide for the line, almost 4 wide, and Brian Johnson wins. The 28 gets the win as it's Calamity coming down to turn number 1.
Brian Johnson with the win. I think Nelson got through, and the rest of the field, I think, has caught up in that wreck. Oh, no. Wow, what a finish. 3 wide, 3x3x3. Incredible racing. You saw it. We talked about it. Great iRating. Great drivers. Tremendous.
Brian Johnson searched for some help, and it was Zach Hall that was his teammate just saying, come on, let's make this outside lane work. And the 28 bounces up. It took 3 laps to find the momentum. We didn't need overtime, and Johnson, winner of back at season 6 when they had 8 cautions, didn't have that many here tonight. Johnson is going to become the first driver to be a 2-time Daytona winner for the WSSR. And what is fitting to see this 28 into victory lane. What a finish here tonight for the Hot Lap Threads. Fast and left to 50. Congratulations to Johnson. As we will continue to watch the burnout for this 28 machine, we will step aside when we come back. It's Brian Johnson, Benjamin Nelson, Johnny Bruggs. We'll see if we'll talk to another driver after that. What a finish to start out season 8. We'll be back in just a few moments. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. What a finish to start out the season 8 with a hot lap threads fast and left 250. It's Brian P. Johnson finding himself into victory lane, working that outside groove with his teammate and others following in suit. Hey, let's talk to see how that 28 is feeling. Brian, it's Sam and Justin up in the booth. Congratulations on this win. Man, how are you feeling making that power move on the outside?
Well, I think I need some high blood pressure medication. Man, that was a heck of a finish. That was probably the most exciting finish of a race that I've won. So that was pretty cool. Definitely got to thank Zach and Ben, really everybody at Snowy Desert. Me and Zach, we worked with them all night, and Zach had the strategy calls. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him because there's people out there that can't see apparently, but thank Zach for the strategy calls. Then got to thank Ben for navigating that pack when they came out of pit road. He did a great job of leading us through there. And then got to thank Zach again for giving me a whole bunch of pushes that final lap, and just got the few inches we needed to get across the line first. So that was a good race. It's a great way to start the season, and technically that's 2 in a row for me.
Justin?
Yeah, sorry. Brian, so when you were in right there coming down the back straightaway, did you plan on going high? When did you know? Were you talking to Zach? Walk me through that.
Yeah, so it was maybe a couple laps before Zach was asking me. He was like, "Who is it that's making the high lane go up towards the wall?" And I was like, It's the leader of this line right here." And he was like, "Well, if they quit doing that, I've got some runs that I could make. I could go to the outside lane, and then we could work something out up there." So I was trying to be in Ben's mirror and kind of show him like, "Hey, I don't want to go out to the wall anymore." And it the timing of everything was perfect. Is Ben had that gap for me to take, and Zach had the run at the right time, and we were able to make it 3 wide. And like I said, I mean, Zach had some really great pushes. It's tough to push in these cars without spinning them out, because the front end of these cars just go right under the rear of the car ahead of you, so it's easy to scoop up the person in front of you. But he had some really great pushes, and yeah, just great execution and great timing, and a little bit of luck too.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
always helps too.
Yeah, I mean, Brian, we gotta say that what an incredible run for yourself. Like you said, practically back to back. You won the last race of season 7. Now this race here tonight. How do you feel like that momentum's gonna help you moving forward? Because it looks like the rookie class last season was strong. This one looks like it's just as strong coming into tonight.
Oh yeah, we we all thought winning a race last season was going to be tough. This season is going to be like you said, Sam, about twice or maybe 3 times as hard. We got a lot of new guys in the on the roster for season 8 that I mean are really strong drivers. So there's going to be a lot of competitive racing, competitive finishes this season. So the good thing is that I got the win out of the way, so I'm already locked into to the playoffs, so I don't have to worry about that. And got a little bit of playoff points too, which is something I didn't have last season either. So already starting off a lot ahead from where I was last season, which is really good considering that multi-time winners this season may be pretty rare.
It may be pretty rare, but Brian, also with this win, it makes you as the all-time most winningest driver in WSSR with your 18th career win. Congratulations on that. Hopefully we'll be talking to you more throughout the season. And before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Definitely got to thank you guys for putting on a great show as always. You guys worked really hard for the past several months, but during our off season as well, to put together some really great looking stuff for the broadcast. And I'm a huge fan of it. Looks amazing. So thank you guys a lot. Especially Robert, 'cause I know he spent a lot of hours working on that. And thanks for everybody that tuned in. I hope that was a good enough finish for everybody. But and then got to thank, of course, all the drivers that came out tonight. It was a great race, a nice clean race, and nothing's possible without all the drivers. And then the admin team as well, had another good off season of discussions and changes that I think are going to work out pretty well. And then, of course, Roasted Jim's Coffee, nothing's possible without them. And, the sponsor on my hood, Trophy Smack. I know the uh, the photos and videos of Ben Nelson's trophy has been floating around for a few weeks now, and that thing looks awesome. And I know he's pretty stoked about it. So Trophy Smack did a great job on that one for us. So thank them, and then that's pretty much it.
Well, that will be your winner here tonight. The Season 8 opener, the Hot Lap Threads Fast and Left 250 winner is the 28 machine of Brian P. Johnson. Congratulations, Brian. Enjoy this one, and good luck next week.
Thanks, sir.
As we move from victory lane, we head down to second place, where it's a driver we've talked to a lot last season and already talked to him again. We have Benjamin Nelson with us. Ben, congratulations on second place. You're so close to the win. You were leading there until the very last moment. But man, how are you feeling after your performance here tonight?
I'm feeling pretty good about it. I definitely wanted that win, but the teamwork that we displayed with Brian and Zach there, and the rest of all my Snowy Desert teammates with Norris, Nick Crawford, and Johnny Brugg. I couldn't be happier with how that race went overall. But Daytona can be the best race or the worst race. It's all down to what happens. And in this case, we didn't really have much chaos per se, but we had lots of strategy, lots of teamwork. It was really exciting, especially that finish. I mean, how can you ask for more than a 3-wide finish?
Yeah, you cannot ask for anything more than a 3-wide finish. So, Benjamin, tell me, next week, how do you feel going into Texas? You got the good finish tonight. You got the second place. You got through Daytona. That's always the most important. You got the points. What are you looking for next week?
Well, I need clarification whether it's the new or old Texas, but if it's the new Texas, I haven't raced there with this car, so I am a little apprehensive, but I'm pretty confident when it comes to mile and a halfs in this thing, so I think I'll just do what I always do, and I think I'll be fine.
Ben, I can confirm it is the current Texas that we're going to be running next week for 150 laps. Excited for it. Also, what is the pressure like for yourself coming into a new season, past champion, and the target's on your back that everyone's hunting for you for the Season 8 championship?
I mean, it's kind of the same as it was for me. I mean, it's everybody was gunning for me anyway, so it's just going week in and week out for the win. It's really all I can do. It's all I've ever done. So just going to continue and hope it takes me there.
Oh, we cannot wait to see how you're going to perform this season, Ben. Congratulations on second place. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to all my family that's watching the stream all around the country. Actually, I really appreciate their support. My aunt and my uncle, they're tuning in too, and my parents, also my coworkers, whoever which one of them tuned in. I appreciate that. And also, I got to give a shout out to every one of the Snowy Desert guys and Zach and Brian Johnson that worked with us. It's just amazing that we were able to pull off such a team move there over the entirety of the race. I know we had some hiccups with Norris and Zach having issues on there, but for the most part, we worked really well together, and I couldn't ask for a better, team with Johnny coming on aboard this season too. I'm so over the moon that it worked out that well in our first race. So huge props to everyone else in the field as well for keeping it green and clean for the most part. How can you ask for more on a Daytona '08 race? It's hard to do that with any group of guys, and I'm sure it put on a great show for you guys too.
It was amazing to watch that 3-wide finish. It's certainly going to be something to look back on a lot. Again, you look at the history of this season. Congratulations, Ben, on a second place finish, and we can't wait to talk to you more throughout the season.
Thank you.
Well, that will be your second place finisher as we head down to that of third place, where we bring in the 20 machine. Johnny, it's Sam and Justin up in the booth. I mean, throughout the week, all I was hearing was that Johnny was probably the best person to have as a pusher or follow. Man, you seem to prove it here tonight. Strong run, third place finish. Man, how are you feeling after your first performance in the WSSR?
Oh man, that was a ton of fun, and super happy to walk away with a podium in my first race here tonight. Obviously, could have been a little better if I could have grabbed the win there, but overall, great race, great racing by everybody, and yeah, super fun.
Yeah, Johnny, it was great to watch you. This is Justin, by the way. We've raced in the past together. I know you're a very clean racer. You're very fast. Tell me how you feel for the rest of the season. You got to go out there in your first race tonight. You got to see all the other drivers. How are you feeling for the rest of the year?
Well, the competition out here is a step up from anything I'm used to. It's really competitive out here. So, and I'm looking forward to these hard races ahead on the schedule. So, just try and do my best week in, week out. Hopefully, grab a win and sneak into the playoffs. But yeah, I did see you sitting here in the waiting room. I saw Justin Malarkey in the broadcast room. I was like, hey, I know that guy. And I was telling Ben that we raced in a couple other leagues together. So it's cool to see you in here.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it the rest of the year. I think you're going to be one to watch the whole season, along with a lot of other drivers, because we saw a ton of fast, really talented drivers tonight.
Appreciate it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
I mean, Johnny, it's pretty quick when we turn around at some of these tracks. The first four are so different from any other season, really. We have Daytona here tonight, just concluded. We're going to Current, Texas, New Hampshire, and Watkins Glen. What is your mentality going into these next three races?
So, honestly, I'm just going to have to try and do the best I can because I've never actually ran a race on the new Texas configuration. I've ran a bunch on the old Texas, but I don't know how well that'll transition over. New Hampshire is another one that I can run pretty decent on, and then we go to a road course that is definitely not my strong suit. So I'll just be trying to cross the start-finish line there in the last lap if possible. But yeah, just trying to do the best I can these next three laps or three races.
Well, we cannot wait to see how you're going to perform, Johnny. Congratulations on a top three finish here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
I just want to shout out everyone watching, tuning in the broadcast, all the admins that put this league together, and you guys in the booth putting on the show.
Well, thank you very much. That will be your third place finisher. Congratulations, Johnny, and good luck going into Texas next week.
Thanks, guys.
Well, that will be our interviews here tonight. I only have our top three. That's the 20 machine of Johnny Bruggs going to be coming away with a third place finish. I mean, certainly a crazy run throughout all these drivers pushing it forward and trying to find themselves in a victory lane, but only one, like Justin said earlier, could take the win, and it was the 28 of Brian P. Johnson. A fast run at the end and had to make the charge late there on the outside. Congratulations, that 28 machine, as they continue on. Again, winner of the last race last season wins here tonight as we get ready to take a look at our unofficial results for the first race of the season. Can't believe that we're already here, but here is going to be your top 10 and others. As taking the win is going to be that of the 28 machine of Brian P. Johnson. Benjamin Nelson's going to take second. Johnny Brugg going to be taking third. Fourth goes to Larry Yingling. Ryan McCann, fifth. Douglas Newbegin, sixth. Seventh goes to Isaiah Sutherland. Nick Crawford, eighth. Ninth goes to Ryan Kelly. And James Heater going to be finishing out our top 10. And as it scrolls through, I mean, Justin, any drivers that kind of point out you're just surprised, or any drivers that you're like, okay, that was actually a good run for themselves?
Yeah, we talked about the number 98 finishing 14th. He was leading with not too many laps to go in that race. He just did not work out for him. And we had the 17 up there too. Ross Tatum, we know, led quite a few laps there, and he did pit a little early. We thought it was maybe not going to work out. Then maybe we thought it was going to work out. It turns out an 18th place finish is what Daytona had in store for him tonight. And then we did see about Zach Hall finishing 22nd. We know what he did with Brian Johnson, helping him to the lead.
Massive runs all around. 38 drivers took this race to the green, and only able to see 21 on the lead lap. A great finish for Brian P. Johnson, but man, this field, they know it. Competition is going to be tough all season long, and we cannot wait to see how these future races are going to go down. It's Texas. as well as going to be seeing New Hampshire, Watkins Glen. Here's our schedule for the season. Top 12 races are going to be finding ourselves being the races in the regular season. 13th and 14th will be when we get into the first round of the playoffs. But looking at the schedule, Justin, Texas, New Hampshire, Watkins Glen, then Indianapolis, and then with 6th race on the season, a brand new track just added a few months ago in iRacing. It's Kern County. This first couple of races are going to be tough for these drivers in the Gen 4 car.
Yeah, I love that you just mentioned the schedule because I was hostile reviewing it. I'm thinking Kern County, I've never even seen this track, so it's going to be brand new to me, might be brand new to a bunch of the viewers, so you all need to tune in for the next 10 weeks so we can keep going through everything, and then we got the playoffs coming after that. We're going to have a lot of races for the next 17 race weeks.
It's going to be a fun one to watch. Your winner here tonight, again, is the 28 of Brian P. Johnson. Your pole sitter was the 21 of Ross Tatum. Didn't get the finish that he wanted. The rest of the field, excited on how this race is going to conclude. But for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you so much for joining with us. Here is our upcoming schedule for this week. As yesterday, got to see Cedric Hunter get his first win in the Full Send Racing Series. But next week, also same time, going to be seeing those drivers. Who's going to make the Final Four? It's the last race of the round of 8. For us here at WSSR on a Wednesday nights, we'll be back next week for Texas. But if you're looking for a broadcast team to cover your leagues on Monday or Thursday night, we are still available, looking for leagues to fill in those spots, as we were not able to continue with those 2 other series that we once were covering before. So we're open, we're free. Message us on Facebook if you'd like to have your league covered on that Thursday, Monday, or even Sunday night for coverage. Thank you so much for everyone joining with us here tonight. Justin, you did a great job for your debut broadcast here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Any of your final thoughts before we conclude this evening?
Well, I enjoyed it. I hope all the viewers enjoyed it as much as I can. I look forward to growing and getting even better at this to bring you all the best possible commentation for all the viewers. Thank you to you, and thank you to Robert. Thank you to Freaky Fast. Amazing company.
It's a pleasure to have you with us. Again, that's Justin Malarkey. My name is Sam Dyer, as well in the behind the scenes running production for every race here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. It's Robert Moyer Jr. Thank you so much for joining with us, and from everyone else at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you as well. To you, the viewers, hopefully you enjoyed the show, as we will be back giving you more coverage next week for Texas. But before that, Tuesday night, Full Send Racing. Who makes the challenge and runs for a championship? You'll have to find out. Tuesday night, it's our next Freaky Fast broadcast.